everybody. We're joined by Northwestern head coach Chris Collins. We'll start with an opening statement and then take questions. Coach?
Yeah, I mean, give Michigan credit. They came in here very determined. I thought they had a lot of energy. They were fresh, hungry. Thought they did a lot of good things, especially in the second half. All things considered, I didn't think we played very well in the first half, and we were only down one. So we were trying to be positive there about, hey, let's get ourselves back on track, play a little bit better here in the second half, and we can maybe find a way to dig this one out. We actually got the 3-point lead. We scored the first 4 points of the second half, and then, from there it just kind of went downhill. I thought mentally we made a lot of mental mistakes tonight. And again, we're ready to play. We're excited. It's not an excuse. But we really haven't had a practice in 2 weeks. And sometimes, when it really rears its ugly heads when, you can have what they call game slippage. When you don't get to practice, you're relying on the guys to continue with the principles and, things that you normally can do every day. And, we need to get mentally refreshed, a little physically refreshed. We knew this was going to be a tough couple weeks, the 6 games in 2 weeks. Fortunately for us, we've won 3 of the 5 so far. So, that being said, this was disappointing loss. Anytime you lose on your home floor in the conference, it's disappointing because road wins are hard to come by. And now what I told the guys, if you drop one at home, you got to go find one on the road, and we've gotten 3 on the road so far in this league, which has enabled us, and we have 3 at home, with 3-3 at home, 3-2 on the road. So, we have to get ourselves back on track. This was not really indicative of how we've played, and ultimately I take responsibility for that. We gotta find a way to get our complementary guys more involved. I have to do a better job of that. We got to get more out of the guys outside of the 2 guards because, you have a night like tonight where maybe Chase doesn't have it going, and you just can't win in this league with one guy producing. You gotta have a team, and that's what we got to work on here as we get ready to play our next game. And certainly we know it'll be difficult as we head to Wisconsin. So, but Michigan played well. I thought they were ready to go. I thought they were really focused and determined for the game. And I thought Bufkin was fantastic, because at the end of the day, if you make Hunter Dickinson take 16 shots to get 19 points, you've done a pretty good job, and he only had 3 rebounds. So it wasn't like he was a dominant force in the game. I thought Bufkin was really good, and give credit to Joey Baker as well, coming off the bench and giving him 14 big points in 14 minutes. So back to the drawing board. I'm going to give the guys tomorrow off. We haven't had one in over 2 weeks. And I just want them to get away from the gym for a day, get away from each other for a day, get mentally refreshed. We'll come back and get ourselves ready to play. We've had games like this. I mean, guys, in the Big Ten, everybody's beating each other. So, there's not a team outside of Purdue that hasn't had, a tough loss here or a tough week where they've lost 2. And, what you have to do is you got to then bounce back. Unfortunately for us, we've done that. And now we're in a position we've lost 2 in a row. We gotta get back on track and somehow, some way find a win. So that we can keep up with what we're trying to do here.
Coach, you talked briefly there about getting other guys involved. What does that look like going forward, especially considering Chase and Boo do initiate so much of the half-court offense?
Yeah, I think they do initiate the offense. I think we gotta find whether some wrinkles that we're doing. We've done, those guys have done a good job playing off those guys so far this year. We do have a package of things that we run for certain guys. I mean, we got to be able to find the open player, and especially if they're going to trap ball screens at times, which they did. Not the whole game, but if they're going to put 2 to the ball, sometimes you don't really need to call a play. It becomes 4-on-3. If you can get rid of the ball and get the ball moving. I thought in a lot of games we've done that. We were just kind of a little bit slow to react to it. I mean, Nebraska game was case in point. They were doing very similar things defensively, and we moved it and the ball, and all of a sudden a guy like Ty, gets open and gets 20-something points. Robbie's had games where he's been in double figures, even last Saturday against Minnesota, where he gave us 14 big points. So I always take that on myself, to look at the film, look what people are trying to do against us. You have to adjust. People, as you get kind of a scouting report on each team, you a lot of times see similar things defensively that teams are trying to do, especially with our guards. And we got to be able to adjust to that and put our other guys in positions where, we can find some contributions in other areas.
Coach, you talked about Chase's struggles a little bit. Just kind of what kind of message did you try to give to Chase throughout the game? Was it to keep shooting, or was it kind of distribute?
Well, just make good decisions. If it's the shot, it's the shot. And I thought, I thought early in the game he was a little excited, and took some, shots maybe that he knew weren't the right shots to take, and just try to make, he's going to have the ball in his hands. Boo's going to have, and I trust those guys to be proper decision makers. And you know what? There are going to be nights where they both take 15 to 20 shots, but let's just make sure they're good ones. And it doesn't mean you're going to not have a bad shot here or there, but he's a guy that we want to be aggressive, but it's, just make the right reads. If the shot's there, if the drive's there, take it. If not, make the right play and get the ball moving and again, stay positive. I mean, he's been so good for us all year long. He's our guy. It happens. He had a tough night tonight. It's part of the game. Every good player in this league, is going to have a tough night or two here or there. It's about, being an older guy like he is and watching the film and kind of seeing what people are trying to do against him and come back out the next game and make really good decisions and play well. So that's the message. And, I don't want him to lose his aggressiveness and, but just want him to be the guy he's been most of the year. That's all we want. He's been terrific all year for us.
Robbie and Ty played just under 20 minutes apiece, and can you kind of go into the reasoning behind rotationally why you chose to play those guys a little less than their season?
Yeah, just kind of feel for the game. I don't really come into a game saying, this guy's going to play or that. I'm just trying to feel how the game's being played. We obviously had Julian back. I thought he was giving us some good defense, especially against some of their wing athletes with Jed and Bufkin. And, just thought on the defensive end he was doing some things, and he had a couple nice drives there and baskets. And obviously Brooks is a big part of our team, so he's going to play a lot. So, no, I mean, I certainly didn't come into the game saying that those guys were going to play 19 or 27 or 30 minutes. But part of it, too, is just the attrition of how many games we've played. It's the fifth game and in a week and a half, and you're trying to kind of maybe rotate some guys in different spots and stay fresh and maybe see if someone can give you a lift. So those guys, again, they're huge parts of our team. I have to do a better job in helping those guys be a little bit more productive. We need those guys. I mean, we can't have 1 for 8 and one basket out of those two guys and expect to win against the teams we're playing. I mean, everybody in this league is good, and we got to have a little bit more balance. And that's something that I and the coaches will continue. But like I said, we haven't practiced, so it's really hard to kind of make adjustments offensively or take a look at new things. I mean, literally, we've had so many games. The focus in between the games has been rest. Because if you don't have fresh minds and fresh bodies, you're not going to win, no matter how much you're prepared. So I'm kind of looking forward to now the rest of the way getting back to the 2-game-a-week schedule, where we get a couple days in between each game and the ability to get on the practice floor a little bit and maybe kind of add some wrinkles to some of the things we're doing and help out those guys, get some cleaner looks and be a little bit more productive for us.
Tough league, of course, but is it a down offensive season, do you think, around the league on the whole? This is just anecdotal, but there seem to be a lot of clunkers.
Yeah, no, I think part of it, to be quite honest with you, is it's very physical league, and the game's being played with a lot of physicality, and that rewards the defense. And so, I think a lot of times with, the physical play, that's just my opinion, it's going to reward, the stout, and the coaches in this league are so good. So, I mean, I think you've always seen kind of in the Big Ten, man, once you get into the meat of Big Ten play, those scores just lower and lower and lower because we've seen each other. We've analyzed film. We know what everybody wants to do. For the most part, you're getting a couple days prep. It's kind of a thing in our league where you can really lock in on tendencies and all those things. But I haven't studied the trend across the board. You get kind of real focused on what we're doing. And certainly tonight was not an offensive masterpiece from us in any stretch of the imagination. But I just think I just feel like the Big Ten every year, when you get in the second half of the league, the scores go down just out of familiarity and the level of coaching in this conference.
Does it feel out there, kind of like with your margin for error or your maybe limited scoring options in general, does it feel kind of like a high wire act or any part of any game that could just kind of break bad and you can stop scoring?
I try not to think negatively like that, but as a coach, you always, when you're playing a 40-minute game, you're always on that kind of high wire act. You're trying to keep your team focused and poised. You understand a game can turn at any point. And again, we've gotten better on the offensive end, but we haven't really been a team that's going to throw up 80, 90. So, for us, we got to play great defense. We can't make mental mistakes. We can't have breakdowns. We can't have people run out against us and have big runs because we haven't been that kind of offensive team. So, I think the margin for error for our success is slim, but our guys have embraced that. And tonight, for whatever reason, again, I just thought we were a step slow. I thought they were quicker to the ball. I thought a lot of the 50-50 balls they got, loose balls, you saw it on the offensive boards. They really hurt us early. 11 offensive rebounds in the first half. And that hasn't been indicative of us, So, whether it's just a lot of games and all that kind of stuff, but we just got to get refreshed. It's one game. I don't want to overreact to it. Just like I didn't overreact when we had 3 big wins last week, in a 6-day span. So we got to get ourselves right. We got to get back to playing how we can play and hopefully put ourselves in a position to win game. We never really put any game pressure on them in the second half. I was hoping, that we could make a run there, and we just could never really find it. Couldn't string those buckets together, couldn't get the stops to kind of get it to 8, get it to 6, where the crowd could get into the game, and credit Michigan because they kept us at distance that whole second half.
Could that, kind of going off that a little bit, talking about the grind and guys wearing down in the league, but also like with your team being overworked with all these different making up the games and a lot of games kind of, could that make the difference sometimes on the jump shot where you hit the front of the rim?
Sure.
And it's just that much of a difference. You don't get that lift. And that makes all the difference with higher legs.
Yeah, I think so. And again, like I don't want to make this seem like we lost the game because that's a discredit to Michigan because they're a good team and they played really well. But guys, the reality is, like we didn't get home from Iowa till almost 3 o'clock in the morning, on Tuesday, played at 8 o'clock at night. So you're playing a game in less than 48 hours with school, and it's your 5th game in 10 days. So, there is going to be a little bit of fatigue there. And I was just kind of hoping that with the home crowd, with our energy, with our adrenaline, we could find a way to kind of fight through some of that human nature stuff. That's human nature. You look even in the NBA, they play crazy schedules. Look at teams when they play 5 and 9 days, like those, a team will come out and lose by 30 or 40 points. So you're like, wow, look at that score. Because you get a little bit worn down. And the reality is, though, it happened to us. We had to get the games back in. We wanted to play. It was the only places we could put those games. And, really at the end of the day, if you would have said to me when we started this stretch, if you would have said to me before we played Wisconsin last Monday, like through these next 5 games, you're going to be 3-2. I think all of you guys would have probably signed up for that. Now, the disappointing thing is we won the first 3, so then you get greedy. And you're like, let's win. But every single one of you, when you saw 5 in 10 days against Michigan, Wisconsin, at Iowa, at Nebraska, home against Minnesota, if I would have said we're going to win 3 out of 5, it's pretty good. So, that's why, we can't overreact. It happened. Michigan beat us tonight. It was definitely they beat us, and I've never been an excuse maker, but we got to get these guys refreshed. That's why I told them they need to get away from the gym tomorrow. We don't play till Sunday night, and hopefully we can get our kind of minds right and our bodies right. We can have a good practice on Saturday and go up to Madison and see what happens. You know, we're still right there. Like I said, we just now got to go on the road and find another one. And our guys have always been a team that hasn't mind going out on the road. And we'll have a couple opportunities here in the next couple games.
He's got recognized pregame for being a 1,000-point scorer. What did that mean to you as a coach, and what was it like to share that moment with him?
Yeah, I'm just super proud of Chase. You know, Boo had it earlier in the year. You know, college basketball, for me as a college coach, one of the things I've always enjoyed is going through the journey with players and going through ups and downs and watching guys grow as leaders, grow as men, grow as players. And to see, you know, Chase be healthy this year, to see the kind of season he's having, you know, to see him be able to be recognized for an award. Like, it's not easy to score 1,000 points. And I told him, welcome to the club, because I got mine too. But I'm really proud of him. Really proud of what he's been, the leader he is this year for us, how he's played for us, how he's improved, and you know, excited to go through this stretch run with him and the rest of these guys. They've been a really fun group to coach. I've said it. You know, just because we played poorly tonight, it doesn't change that they've been a great group and a group that we've really enjoyed coaching and has really bought in to the things that we need to do to win, and he's at the forefront of that. So really proud of him.
I think you said you're giving your guys a day, right?
Yeah.
Are you giving you a day? Is there such a thing as that?
Yeah, I mean, probably so. You know, I think coaches, players, like, you know, it's good to get a little bit of a, you know, they hear my voice a lot, so they need to have a day where they don't hear me, you know, and just kind of refresh. And obviously, we're going to dive into prep with Wisconsin and watch film, but you know, in the grind of everything with coach, I've tried to learn. Fortunately for me, growing up, being the son of a coach, you know, I've tried to really learn over time, like how to stay fresh, you know, with exercise, with rest, with sleep, make sure that I can stay at my best, because that's what my guys deserve. That's what they need from me and my staff. And so, yeah, I have to be smart about when I'm talking to them, I'm talking to me too. So it's going to be good to kind of, you know, hey, we got one more here this weekend. It's 6 games in 2 weeks, which you don't really see too often in college basketball. And let's get our minds right. Let's get mentally refreshed, and let's see if we can go up to Madison and be competitive on Sunday night.
All right, that'll wrap us up.
All right, thank you guys. Thanks for coming.
Boo Buie, Brooks Barnhizer. We'll open it up for questions. Middle.
Boo, you had a really good game tonight, although Chase did not. Can you talk about your mentality trying to be that kind of alpha player when your sidekick is not there on a night like tonight?
I mean, yeah, you know, he was there defensively. He may not have shot the ball great. You know, I thought he kind of took some tough ones. We were trying to tell him, you know, just let the game come to you and settle. But, you know, Chase has been great, and we'll live and die with his shots. But, you know, I was trying to take on the mentality of, like, making the right play. You know, defenses are really trying to key in on Chase and I. So, you know, when I'm getting into paint, I'm just trying to get to jump stops and find guys cutting or find guys open on the perimeter or score the ball myself. I actually think I did a bad job tonight of getting to 2 feet, and I left my feet off one and had some silly turnovers. Yeah, I could have did a better job leading overall.
Alex.
How much of the shooting was, or just kind of in general, kind of that energy in the second half, can that be chalked up to like playing five games in 10 days and just the energy overall?
Yeah, we ain't really thinking about playing X amount of games in a certain amount of day. We're just kind of coming in with the mentality of we have an opportunity in front of us. Each opportunity is significant, and we got to make the most of each opportunity. And unfortunately, we couldn't capitalize on the one tonight. So we're just focused on winning.
Any more questions? Alex.
I mean, how do you kind of rebound from this? Like, what does the next couple of days of preparation look like ahead of Wisconsin, which is another like big road game? Coach Collins talked about if you lose one at home, you got to pick one up on the road.
Yeah, I mean that's the rebound. When you lose one at home, you got to go get one on the road, and so, you know, we're gonna take time to get our mind and bodies right, prepare for the game, and you know we got to come in the practice with an edge tomorrow, and really be dialed in and start preparing tomorrow for Saturday's game.
Yeah, Boo, how do you guys sort of do a better job in sort of getting other players involved? Obviously, Lincoln, Ty had that really good game. Sort of today, it kind of seemed like you and Chase were kind of taking most of the shots. How do you kind of continue to get other players involved?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we kind of just been a team all year who, you know, we just take the best shot available. So maybe Chase and I were getting the most looks tonight. But usually we do a really good job on priding ourselves, good to great, making the right pass to each other. And, you know, kind of got downhill, could have played off each other a little better. We got our opportunities and we couldn't capitalize, so.
I usually ask Boo, but Brooks, seeing your role stepping up more and more and progressing more and more during the season, from your perspective, what do you feel like the guys that are getting to step up in their role need to do as well on their end?
Yeah, I feel like just kind of taking the pressure off Boo and Chase a little bit as much as we can. I mean, I think every night we go out, you know, teams are definitely going to try to stop Boo and Chase because, you know, we live and die by them. I mean, they're our leaders, they're our team captains. So, I mean, just guys like me, Jew, like anybody who can, if we get the opportunity, we got to capitalize to make it that much easier on them. And it just benefits everybody. If, you know, if I can make a few shots or make a few plays, you know, not just scoring, whether it's like taking charges, rebounds, everything, just, you know, because it's a team fight. And, you know, we got to win it as a team, and that's what helps if we can take some pressure off them.
And Brooks, you kind of talked about taking those 2 charges. Can you walk us through your defensive mentality and how you think defense can maybe even play off your offense a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like kind of basketball is almost like a simple game. If, you know, the other team doesn't score, it's a lot easier to beat them. So, I mean, just kind of like, you know, taking charges and rebounding. If you get a few stops and stuff like that, you know, the shot's going way easier and you have that much more confidence because you just made a big play on the other end. So, just kind of like the way the game goes, if you make a good play, it's bound to happen on the other end too. So, it's just kind of like give and take. Sure.
Any more questions? That'll wrap us up. Thank you.